Okay, welcome everyone to this webinar on working with hotels. The topic has arisen through, I guess, some of the questions that have been asked through the hotels.tv team whilst working with a lot of the agents. There's one aspect where you go and get the event and secure the event, and then it's moving on to the hotel and working with those hotels to get your clients the best rates, best availability, but also to be able to get an allocation of rooms. Um, that becomes quite important to the way that you work with the event and the availability that you set. There are effectively a number of ways that we do this. So let's start from the start. Firstly, one of the main questions we get is, what comes first? Do we get the hotel first, or we go and get the event first? And for many years, I've often said a bit of both, So getting the event first is important because what it does, it gives you leverage. So it opens all the hotels up because they can actually see exactly what you've got to offer. And that's quite important. However, having relationships with hotels before you get the event can be very good, but you don't have anything to negotiate with that at that particular point. So I often find the best combination is to be looking for your events and your event organizers, but whilst you're in that process and you're coming across great hotels, contact and introduce yourself, give them a business card and make sure they understand what you're doing. And that gives you a really nice warm contact for when you do get the event and then you start hitting up the hotels for rates and availability. It's almost like you already have a relationship with these people rather than just starting cold. Remember, this is the hospitality and this is a relationship-based business. So the warmer your contacts are, the more they're going to work with you. What hotels are not so interested in is agents who just fly in for an event and fly out, and I mean figuratively, not literally. So they only talk to the hotel when they want something. They don't talk to them at any other stage. Whereas the best relationships come out when actually you have a relationship with the hotels and you've been talking about them for other reasons. Otherwise, the hotels won't really give you anything extra special because they feel that you're just going to be here now and you're going to be gone tomorrow. They need to feel like you're here to stay and that you're going to be with them and working with them for a long time. So they need to respect that relationship. And so I think it's really important that you do a combination of both and you just don't restrict yourself. However, when it comes to the negotiation of something real like rates, then you do it when you do have the exclusivity for an event because that gives you the leverage. Hopefully that's pretty clear. How do we find hotels and select hotels? Well, it really is based on the event that you're working with. And one of the things that you can do is look at similar events and look at events at the particular venue where the event is being held. Quite often when you get that event, it's not the first time they've had that event. So you can go back through their list of previous events and find out where people stayed and which hotels they may have worked with and get some feedback from them. But normally, as a rule of thumb, you're going to go for hotels that are closest to the venue. And you're going to go for a selection of hotels that are, one budget, one mid-range, one luxury, maybe two of each, three of each. But you want to give a bit of a choice because, it's quite important that there's a bit of variety. Just because the event is being held at a convention center does not mean that the guests are going to be 5-star, and it does not mean that the guests are or are not going to be budget guests. You can sometimes get a little bit of an idea from the actual event itself and the people that it attracts. So once again, it's just about doing a bit of research. Research the event, talk to the event organizers, find out what the demographic is of their audience, and then it allows you to be more successful. Once you've actually set that up, though, if we fast forward a little bit, one of the things I thoroughly recommend is also doing analytics on the event. So when you've linked the event to the event organizer's website and the people from the event are starting to flow through, you can soon get an idea of what they're looking at and what they click on and click away from, what they book and what they don't book. So if you've got a lot of clicks, and this is through Google Analytics, we can print this off for you for your event, and we can show you how to set up your own analytics. It's very simple, even using your existing Hotels TV Gmail address. You have access to analytics. And you just put a UA code in the event edit destination page, and that starts to track all the clicks coming through automatically. But that can give you a really good indication of what's working for you and what's not working for you. So if you get lots of clicks on your luxury hotels but no bookings, then it may be that your prices are too high. So you need a luxury hotel, but you need one that's not $500 a night. Maybe a 4-star or a 4-star luxury hotel that, you know, still gives the same sort of impression, but it's not so opulent as it commands such a bigger price. So that there can just some interesting tips at selecting hotels, but always pick something close. I've got a question coming through. I'm going to jump into questions as we go as well. One from Vanessa. When the event organizer does not know what their customers really need. Absolutely. The event organizers quite often don't know what their customers really need. They may know what they need, and they may know what their staff need, and maybe their keynote speakers, because quite often they're accommodating their keynote speakers as part of a deal. What they generally want for those, depending on the event, if it's a kids amateur sports event, it's different from a corporate event. If it's a corporate event, and I'll use the BCLA in Singapore as an example, what they wanted is peace of mind and reassurance that they're in a corporate styled hotel that kind of fit everyone, that was close to the event. So they knew it would have the facilities and the features and Wi-Fi and a restaurant and all the things that they needed, but it was not 5-star. And also we got them amazing rates into a 5-star hotel that were the rates of a 3 or 4-star hotel, but the event organizers did not want to be seen to be putting their staff and also their keynote speakers into a 5-star hotel because they felt that it would send the wrong message. So actually they wanted to play it down a little bit and put them into a nice 4-star hotel, so it didn't give the impression that they're just, you know, just wasting money or spending money on other things. So really interesting. It's not all about getting them into the highest ranked hotel, it's getting into the right hotel that's best. So to answer your question, what I would do is I would put a combination of a few different hotels on a page and see where they gravitate to more. Check your analytics, and after the first week or two of looking at your analytics, I would actually start to fine-tune those hotel choices more towards the feedback that you're getting from those analytics. Hopefully that helps. Then getting in touch with the hotel. So remember, we're assuming you've got the event, you've got a contract which says you're the exclusive agent. You get on the phone and you call these hotels and say, hey, I am the exclusive agent for this event. The only way you can get to the people attending this event is to go through me. I would like to work with you. You could do this by email. We do this by email quite a lot. We'll email 20, 25 different hotels and ask them to almost bid or almost tender for it, because we only want 5 or 6 hotels, so we send out 20, 25. So you can call them, you can email them. Look, there's no hard and fast rules here. It's all about relationships. It's all about, the one thing you need an email trail, you need agreements when you actually set prices and things, but the hotels provide all those. And if you email backwards and forwards, once you've opened up the initial contact, then you have a record of your conversations as well. That's really important and very useful, you know, for you being able to look back and check rates, and it's certainly useful for when you go to invoice and need to understand what the net rate was that you're getting paid commission on. But there's no hard and fast rules with that. It's, you know, it's all about relationships. So give them a call. Definitely give them a call, even if you email them, because You want to build that relationship. That'll get you much better deals as well. Selling to hotels. What are you offering? Why are you special? Yes, the hotel, you're not selling. You don't have something of a tangible value to sell. Like you're not asking for $200, $500 from the hotel to participate. By the way, you could do that. If you have something very exclusive, you could ask the hotels to pay almost like a registration fee, but then it does commit you to give them some bookings. But selling to hotels, know what you've got to offer. You've got a very exclusive audience. You've got an exclusive event. This event might have 800 people or 1,000 people attending, but it might have 20,000 people on their Facebook page that are also being promoted to. So when you sell it to the hotels, sell it, all of it, to the hotels. Sell the exposure. Think about the exposure these hotels get. So when you're advertising these hotels, or when the event organizer is linking to the PBA, they're going to go and send an email shot out to all their people, or their organizer. They might have 20,000 people on a database, 20,000 people on Facebook, 20,000 people on Instagram, and they're going to shout and scream about it. You've just introduced their hotel to 50, 60,000 people, not for the purpose of necessarily booking anything, but amazing exposure, and 50,000 people now know that hotel exists. That is valuable to the hotels. So it's got to be part of your pitch when you go in to get them working with you, by saying, look, did you know, not only are you going to be linked to them, we're going to do some bookings with you, but you're going to be exposed to all these people that book hotels all year round in your city. So we want a really good rate. We want to work with you. So, give us something special, give us a good rate, but also, make sure you give us some added value to go with that as well. It's worth it for the exposure. The dollar value advertising and marketing they get is unbelievable through what we offer them. Even if they do not receive one booking from the event, it's worthwhile. So you need to know why you're special and what you're offering, and the exclusivity, the direct channel you've got using the PBA. It gives you a very exclusive funnel just into those selected hotels, and you've got an exclusive agreement with an event that has thousands of people attending. So hopefully that's a good tip for you. Setting the terms of business, rate negotiation, availability. Look, rate negotiation and availability negotiation kind of go hand in hand. You want a good rate, but you also want a good cancellation policy. So you might get the best rate, but it might be a 30-day cancellation policy where actually that's not quite right for your clients. So what might be right is that you take a slightly worse rate, if you like, so still a good rate, but not as good as a non-cancelable, non-refundable 30-day in advance type rate. And what you might do is negotiate a rate that is still very good, but has a 7-day or 24-hour, 36-hour cancellation policy. Or maybe you want to do an option, a couple of both. Offer a non-cancelable rate and offer a 24-hour rate, cancelable rate, because you'll get bookings for both. Because you've got two different types of people. You've got people that know they're coming, they're secure in that, and they just want a good deal and a cheap deal, and they'll take the 15% lower rate because it's non-refundable and just go with it and bill it to the company because they have to go. But then you get other people that aren't sure about their plans. They're still going, but they're not sure exactly what day, and booking it a month in advance is not an option. They'll do it within a few days of the event. So you want to have rates for those people as well. Availability negotiation, what you get from the hotels is, okay, we need to guarantee these rooms. They'll all try this, but actually what you need to say to them, no, we're not guaranteeing the rooms unless you actually do have guaranteed rooms. If you're working with the event organizer, they might have 10 or 20 or 30 rooms that are actually guaranteed. They will be paying for them all because they're admin staff and the keynote speakers. Then you've got a really good rate that you can go on. But if you're, I should say, guaranteed rooms. But if you're just dealing with the masses that are going to be landing on the PBA, because the other guys, the event organizers, you won't have to book through the PBA necessarily. You can actually just do that manually through the system and via emails with the hotels, because they're being paid by one contact, generally by the company. But when you're dealing with the masses through the PBA, availability negotiation, what you want to do is you want to get 20 or 30 rooms per night across the event. So if the event runs for 2 or 3 days, you want to get 4 or 5 days worth of rates, because you want a day or two either side of the event, and you want you want maybe 10 hotels, 10 room nights, sorry, in each hotel. But sometimes hotels are a bit reluctant to give you that. So what they might do is they might give you 4 or 5 rooms. So take those 4 or 5 rooms, start getting bookings, and then go back to the hotel and say, okay, now we've shown you that we've got a few bookings, we want a few more rooms. So that's a way to do it. So you can do it in part. If you're working with larger hotels that have 250, 350 rooms, then giving you 10 rooms across that period is not going to be a big deal for them. So it depends if you're working with boutique hotels or larger hotels. So you have to assess that based on the event. There's different hotels for different events for different people. The fortunate thing is we really do live in a world now where we have the best availability and the best selection and choice of hotels that we have ever had in the history of hotel booking. So yes, you might find, oh, there's lots of competition and different things, but this has bred the best variety of hotels. And of course, once we get a contract with an event, we're the only exclusive agent in town. So it doesn't make any difference who's out there, because we have an event. And that's what the good thing about it is. But one of the things you're promoting to the event organizers is, because of the way you negotiate, because of the way you work with the hotels, you can get their attendees much, much better rates than they'd be able to get anywhere else. And clearly, the thing that we reiterate is, by using our technology, we can give them a much better rate than, say, Booking.com, because we're talking mass people booking through one portal. And that effectively is the same strategy Booking.com uses, but they're talking individual bookings at a time, where we can use the leverage of having the one event that we have exclusivity on, that we're channeling into these particular hotels. So the availability and negotiation, start with a small amount unless you can get more, and then just add more availability on. And you know what? If you run out of availability at one hotel, you go and get another hotel, and you take 5 rooms off that. So you might end up only featuring 5 hotels at a time, but you may end up booking 10 hotels because you've had 1 or 2 come and go that you've still done bookings with. So don't be afraid to use multiple hotels. Also, what you want to do is keep the hotels on their toes and say, look, we've got 30 hotels we can choose from. We want to work with you, but we need you to work with us. So what can we do? And if you don't get hotels that want to work, go find another hotel. Work with other hotels around the region. There are plenty more to do. What the event wants and what the attendees want is something unique and special. And then they'll come through, and then you'll get a certain amount of bookings for that particular event. So use all your leverage. Contracting, most of the time, like I said, hotels do the contract. What they do is they take your conversation and they put it into their system. They have pre-formatted contracts, because they do this all the time. They email it to you, make sure it's inclusive of your commission, and it's very clear what the rate is and what the expiration date of the rate is, or the minimum number of rooms you need to qualify for that rate, the cancellation policy. Make sure all that is on that contract. There should never be guaranteed bookings, and you should never sign a contract that says anything about guaranteed bookings. The only one who should ever sign that contract is the guest or the company who is going to guarantee those bookings. Okay, so if the event organizer says, yes, I've got 10 rooms and I need to get them booked, then the hotel does the agreement to the event organizer. You just pass the paperwork across by email, make sure they sign it, and pass it back to the hotel. You will have a separate agreement from the hotel which states your commission, because you don't really want to send your commission agreement across to the actual guest. So really what you want to do is have 2 agreements quite often if you're handling a group contracting guaranteed rooms. Otherwise, when we work through the PBA, we're not guaranteeing rooms, they're non-guaranteed. We have an agreement for that. And that's it. And just make sure that you add all the terms and conditions into the PBA, into all the terms boxes, because they appear on all the confirmations that go out automatically. And then once you run your PBA, as we'll give you tips on later on, and you've probably seen anyway, that make sure you're highlighting your best deals at the top where you can write the text on the PBA. So make sure you direct people to these best deals, and you can even do a hyperlink very easily to that hotel page. And once again, make sure your content on each hotel page is relevant, and make sure the descriptions also mention the event so it becomes very personalized and very directed. And then you've got a nice setup all the way through. Changing the contract, that should say, I've spelt that incorrectly. Changing the contract. What I mean by changing the contract is change the terms. What happens if you're 2 weeks in to the PBA, people are booking, but you want to change things? Change it. Then go back to the hotel, say, I want to change it. I want this, I want that. Do not be intimidated by these hotels. They are there to serve you. You are there to negotiate as hard as you can on behalf of your clients. Change the contract. You know, if you're getting bumper bookings, you know, make sure you get really good rates from the hotel. Make sure you add the availability on. Make sure they send you another agreement for the changes. Don't be afraid to adjust things up and change things around as you go along. It gives you flexibility, and your guests will love that, because this is a dynamic world that we live in. Rates move dynamically, so if you can move something dynamically and then reissue a new deal or a new special out through the event organizer to the marketplace, then that's fantastic. It lifts the interest again and again and again, and it gives event organizers something else to blog about or to promote you about. So the more good news you can keep spreading, the more bookings you're going to receive per event. Simple as that. Okay, other things that you've got to sell is actually do your marketing with the hotels. So, you know, you can promote the event via the hotel. Give you an example, like the sushi event in Dusseldorf was one that some of our guys put together. And with the sushi event, lots of people were arriving in town in Dusseldorf, maybe not even knowing about the sushi event. So to help them, what I suggest is you get the hotels to notify all their guests staying in-house, not just our guests, all their guests that the sushi event's on. Maybe there's some marketing material that the sushi event could have given us to give to the hotels that they could distribute around the rooms or in the reception area to promote the event. So this can really give you great leverage when you're working with the event organizer or trying to sign up an event organizer. You know, really give them the impression that you are helping them. And, you know, through our hotels, you know, you could have anything from, you know, 100 to 300 guests, 400 guests per night in a hotel at any one time that could be in that city that could now know about that event. So that could be really valuable. As I said before, also last minute rates, they're always good. Changing rates up, very good. And that also shows the hotels that you're really interested in working with them and that you're really working hard. You haven't just set it up and you're not working the event. Give you rooms, and they're going to give you availability, and they're going to give you added value, you know, and they're going to spend their time on this. Then guess what they want to see? They want to know, okay, they want to know that you are working harder than they are on this event to make this happen, and then they will work with you. And not only on this event, next time you call for the next event, they'll work with you even more. So, you know, so that works really well. I used to do a little trick. Now my trick, it was a bit of smoke and mirrors, if you like. I used to call hotels that I thought I would need one day in advance. And it's a bit sneaky, but I would actually let them know that I'm interested in booking 10 rooms for a group. And I would get them to send me an agreement, and then I'd go back and I'd say, oh, look, I'm really sorry, the guest has actually booked somewhere else, but I'll use you next time. And what that did, it opened up some amazing relationships because they, A, looked at me as if I was a valuable source of business. This guy has at least 10 room to book over 4 or 5 nights, 50, 60 room nights. So, you know, this, sorry if you've lost audio there. Hopefully that'll come back. Can be a really, real way to open the door to some hotels. Yes, it's a little bit sneaky. But I just got a message from Vanessa saying that she actually does that and it really works. It actually really works. Hotels get a million calls a day wasting their time. They get inquiries all the time, but they know they have to do the inquiries to get the bookings. Sales. You have to speak to X number of people to get X number of sales. So we can dipping in and out of hotels, building relationships with people, because we know that shortly we are going to have. Sorry, I believe the internet's just dropped. Hopefully that's come back. So when I see that sign come up, I'll try and pause. So, when we do come back with that guest to book, even if it's one room, they invite us in open arms and they just want to work with us, and it really, really does work. And it quickly builds a relationship between you and the hotel and builds you in as a valuable partner, which gives you rates. So it's almost like you've shortcutted the first event. If you just left all that to the first event that you do, then you're not going to feel the effort of it probably until the second event that you negotiate with them. Or maybe it might not be the second event, it might be the second or third phone call or the second or third contract. But if you do it this way and you just warm some of these hotels up, when you get your first to the hotel, it's your second event. But to them, to you, it's your first event. You're going to get in the door and better rates than probably if you approached it like a first. Hopefully that makes sense to you, but excuse me. Okay, added value is really important. Get something because you want to put that on your PBA, whatever it is. Get a breakfast included. Get a voucher to spend in the bar. Get a free pass to the gym. If they charge, I don't know. Whatever that hotel offers, try and get something. Free car parking. Something that, some vouchers or a discount book or, anything that really makes you different. Quite often, a lot of hotels will based on their availability, or they'll add breakfast. And push. This is the thing that makes you money. So when you're in there, keep pushing the hotel, keep pushing the event, keep making sure the event organizer is promoting it, keep blogging about it, keep whatever you need to do, just push so that everything is pushed and working. And you'll get the most out of the event that way, because you're constantly in front of the hotel and in front of the guests, and the organizer has a reason to tell their guests about you or their attendees. So it all works really well. Then you move on. Once you've done all that and the bookings come in, you're dealing with the hotels. After the event, you need to make sure and check all the details. And you need to let us know whether we're invoicing exclusive or inclusive of tax. That sometimes depends on the city. Any manual bookings that you did, you need to enter in. Everything needs to be recorded into the system, otherwise it will be missed. Sometimes the hotels will actually give us a list and we'll see, but we still have to that list, because quite often they might change the name of their room on check-in. So it's quite often not anyone being dishonest or unhanded, but they literally have checked in, or someone has just checked into the room and paid for the room, and so the hotel will change the name. So therefore it won't be recognized on the invoice. The hotels won't pay it. So we do check everything, make sure as much detail is there as possible. And then you get paid. And then the quicker you do that, quite often the hotels Many hotels have 14, 21 days, maximum days. You know, if I go back 10 years, it may be different. You know, hotels would push and push. Sometimes if you're working, and what I mean by that is they would do 30 days or 60 days, but quite often, see, the hotels live off agents now. Therefore, they're very good up to paying commission quite quickly because they want more bookings. They don't want to interrupt you bringing them another group because their commission payment was late. So as soon as we get it, we turn it around really quickly and we get you paid normally within a few days. It might be within 10 days, depending on how busy we are. Normally it's very, very quick. You can actually invoice before the end of the month. We do try and do that if possible, because as long as the guests have checked out, that's all that matters. But for our accounts purposes, quite often during busy months, we will leave it till the end of the month just because we need the space. But that's how you get paid faster. And the other thing, of course, is try and work with events that are happening sooner rather than later, because that will bring your earning cycle forward. If you're dealing with an event that, you know, it could be a massive event, but it's not until October next year, then you're not going to get paid until November. So really focus on those events that are happening now. Very often, we can get to events that are happening last minute because they need help last minute. And you know, you can put a PBA together very, very quickly. So it's not really an issue working with them last minute. And hotels will respond very, very quickly because they want last minute bookings too. So and that can really help event organizers out and really help the guests out, because let's face it, a lot of guests don't actually book until 2 or 3 weeks before the event anyway. But a normal booking cycle, do it. If you've given them a really good rate 2 months in advance, some of them will take that as well. You've got to make sure they do understand that the rate is limited, it's only for a set period, and it expires on a particular date, so get in now. And these rates are non-cancelable and non-refundable or something like that. So you have this flexibility in your business. I think that's the message that I can give you. You have the biggest flexibility to build these circumstances and this urgency really around each event by using our system, because we've built the system in such a flexible way. There is no just one way to do things unless you are a purely online booking business like a Booking.com. And even then, they constantly change things. If you've ever been able to look into the back end of Booking.com, that the hotels will see and manage their rates and availability. Booking.com are constantly sending messages to hotels promoting discounts, asking them to be, and it is really fascinating. Maybe one day actually do a session on how Booking.com and hotels work together, because you know, we have this impression as guests that use hotels, and the guests see their bookings and the guests get all the back end stuff. The hotels can log in, but maybe the hotels can just add their rates and availability. But actually there is a community of hotels that Booking.com, and this is why they're so successful. They really work with the hotels to maximize the bookings, because that maximizes revenue for Booking.com. So when Booking.com has a hotel linked, constantly they're sending messages to that hotel. You know, these are you that are arriving. This is the availability that you have in the system at the moment. This is what you could be doing to get more bookings. This is what the market's doing. And they run webinars and they run seminars and they run all these keynote things that help people. TripAdvisor does the same thing. Hotels.com does the same thing. So effectively, if you think about your relationship with hotels, you should do the same thing. So when you get this event, or even before you get the event and after you've had the event, you should be constantly saying to these hotels, if you want this business, this is what you need to do. If you have space and you know there's an event and something you're interested in, you need to be active. You need to be, you know, giving us rates. You need to be thinking more about how you can promote to this audience that I own, that I have, that my PBA is connected to. It's an element that probably we don't do enough of, but it's really, really vital. And this is, like I said, this is what happens behind the scenes of all these very successful OTAs that are very online. But keep in mind, they're very structured. We have the flexibility, which is an advantage, to manage an event. And this is why value. But we can. So the last tip that I'm going to leave you with is also, when you're searching for your events, make sure you do lots of research on your events and make sure you're connecting with events that you can manage, that you can help, and that you can use your flexibility to help. And that will help you not only secure the event, it'll help you get really good deals at the hotels. Okay? So that's really it for this week. If you have any questions, you can jot a couple of minutes. It is also not to be intimidated by these hotels. Sorry, I've got my office window open and it sounded like a Harley Davidson. Just took off. Yes, sorry if you've lost some of the audio through the presentation. Sometimes it happens. It is being recorded, and I will put it up on the training YouTube probably later today. I'll upload that for you. So yeah, you'll have that. So you should all be subscribed onto the training channel, the YouTube Hotels TV training channel. If not, log into your how-to guides in the admin system, because it's the first link you come to, and click subscribe in there, because every time we add a new video, you'll be updated with what video that is. But yeah, but we can go through this in private training sessions as well that are specific to events. I'd be very happy to get your events, and as you're working on your events, actually personalize these types of presentations for you to make the most out of that event. All right, well, look, that's it. Thanks for your attendance. I hope you have a good few weeks. Book into training and let us know when your availability is. Training is a continuous thing, especially in business development, and also email us directly, support@Hotels TV, if you have any questions at all. Really, you know, we want to help you be successful. We want to help you grow, stay motivated, and keep connecting. So if you're hitting spots that are difficult, then by all means, let's get you over these hurdles and onto the next success. All right, bye for now, and look forward to speaking to you next time.